Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Charlie. Good morning, Drew.
Morning, Mita. Morning, Drew.
Hey, Charlie, talked to Mita, but I also sent you a link to a poison paper to look to review if you're interested.
Great, great. Thank you. Yeah, I am.
So eventually, hoping to make it just OCP submission, so that or make it a contribution, so that OCP it's published on the OCP website, and I'm not trying to do anything innovative there. It's just like this is best practices. This is what you need to do to use poison correctly. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
Just
started
well,
looking at it, Drew. But so do I comment directly in it, or how do I?
yeah. Please
Okay,
do, please do.
okay. Hopefully by later this week. Still kind of catching
No,
up.
no, no rush at all. But I just know that you and Charlie both asked for it.
Yeah, it looks great. Yeah,
So
thank you
I,
so much for doing it.
well, you're welcome. I just keep writing the same thing everywhere I go. I'm just like, why don't we just make it public? Get everyone on the same page, and then we can point to our suppliers, and we can point to the things that we need to make sure that we do the right thing.
Hey, Drew, your audio is a little in and
Oh,
out.
thank you. It chose the wrong mic again. How about that? Is that better?
Yeah,
oh,
way
much
better.
better. Yeah.
Yeah. The weird thing is it chooses the right speaker consistently. I have one of those little hockey pucks in front of me, but it chooses random mic. So this time it was using a headphone mic on a headphone that's kind of behind my monitor. Uh, I don't know what's going on, but Yogesh said he couldn't be here today. He asked me uh, to cover the agenda he sent, and it looks pretty good. Um, so we'll give people a moment to join. But the agenda was in email. It opens, and uh, he rewrote sections 6 and 7. That was his action item from the last meeting. So we'll take a look at what he did. And I'll share the doc. Welcome, Sean. It was nice to meet you in person.
Likewise.
I was visiting some friends at Google, and I ended up meeting Sean, running into him. So it's awesome. Okay, hey, welcome, Jungman and Evan. So Yogesh is here, but he's mainly in listen mode because he has a last minute conflict. Um, now, I think I'm going to just skip past all of this, and we'll go to sections 5 and 6 since that's what we were planning on looking at. Oh, and I messed up. 6 and 7. 6 and 7. Okay. So are there any opens before we get started? Doesn't sound like it. I am going to, just for your convenience, paste the link to the document in the meeting chat, and then we can jump in. Okay, so I'm going to resolve this comment. And thank you, Sean, for adding the space. I think I accepted it, didn't I? Oh, there we go. Yeah, grammar fixes are awesome. Okay, this was added to replace the DFA table below. And I'm just going to scroll down. This is the table we reviewed last time. And it just was a weird table because the columns seem to say the same thing in every row, and So this looks good. Why don't we take a deeper look? But this is great that he did it. Now the DFA, actually, I'm going to just scroll to the picture real quick so that we're on the same page about what the DFA is. Okay, so the DFA is inside the vendor-specific fault analyzer. And so one of the things that we're going to be talking about is the output of this. Oh, and hi, Studio. If I didn't say hi, I'm sorry. Um, is that, you know, I guess one of my questions is, we're going to generate CPADs, common platform action descriptors, I think, eventually with the analyzer. We don't need to get into too many details now because we'll work that out in RAS API. But, you know, one of the things I'm hoping that can happen is that the DRAM fault analyzer can end up doing things that suggest actions. So, like, let's say that a DRAM vendor, I'm just going to make something up, but did something where they had the ability to determine that a row that hadn't had many errors needed to be mapped out. Like, you know, it's a faulty row, but it might have been hard for anyone else to know that. They just know that because they know the serial number and the maybe there was a screening that was missed or was added and that didn't happen on this one. Maybe there's a known problem with the serial number, like I said. But there's some special knowledge the memory vendor has. In my dreams, uh, the DRAM fault analyzer would recognize that situation in the DRAM and say, hey, here's some pages that you could map out and avoid errors. And maybe you haven't even had errors in those pages yet, but they're coming. And so that's one of the things I want to look at as I look at the DFA output today is, you know, can the DFA and it says, you know, can be used for making RMA decisions or in-field repair by the system fault analyzer, which is the wrapper analyzer. So that sounds great. Now, it should be in a machine readable format such as JSON. Uh, Redfish is not a machine readable format, I don't believe. Like Redfish is a it's like HTTP, you know, but you can request a binary file. Or you can request, you know, just straight text from a Redfish interface. It can be anything. So I think if it's okay with folks, I'm doing all the talking here. I'd like to propose deleting the word Redfish because I don't believe that's a format. That's a protocol.
Yeah, I agree. I think Redfish also outputs in JSON, maybe.
It can, yeah. I mean, you can make a Redfish like I've made Redfish requests for just straight text. You know, it was just like a little bit of English. Uh, so, you know, it can be anything. It's just Redfish, and you can make a request and you can get HTTP back. That's actually fairly common. You know, not HTTP, HTML. Um, okay, the output data fields. I think the location is important. And I'm glad to see that we still have the proprietary information because we really want you to innovate. And we go to the page offline. So one thing I want to ask about is the strikeout here, and to just try to understand the strikeout. Let's see.
Not really sure what the strikeout was for, Drew, but I think just kind of ignoring it, it reads okay to me.
Maybe I'll just delete it then. I mean, you know, I think Yogesh intended for it to go away.
Yeah.
Okay. So
For the page offline, should it be saying like faulty row addresses?
well, there's some bounding to it, right? Like a failure mode, but
And it says a range of faulty logical row addresses.
I mean, the page offlining at the kernel level, the kernel doesn't know anything about rows, so it should just be faulty.
well, but at this level, we could say, hey, I want to do all the rows, and then the system fault analyzer would translate that to those addresses. Because you're right, the OS doesn't know it, but I'm not sure this analyzer would know it either. So all it can do is say, hey, I've got this row address. Like, I guess my point is, what we have to send the OS is an OS physical address, but the OS doesn't know about the row addresses. So what we would,
Hey folks, good morning. I'll come off of mute just for a quick 30-second here. So I did not review or try to alter the fields. I think we have been reviewing those, and if there are things that are not reviewed, we should review those. I did not try to change the fields as we agreed upon previously.
okay. Thanks, Yogesh. But I guess like what I was thinking is, you know, okay. So and maybe a better way to put it is that the DFA can tell the analyzer above it that it wants to map out a portion of the DRAM. And then the thing above it will translate that to the appropriate physical addresses for that hardware. And the reason I'm saying that is because, you know, we can know that a row is bad, but somebody's got to tell the OS, here are the actual OS physical addresses you map out. And so, you know, like knowing that the row is bad here isn't, someone's got to go in between this here and the OS has to tell it the actual addresses. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just think that, I mean, so row addresses make sense for SPPR and hard PPR. But for page offline, it doesn't have to be row addresses. It just has to be some DRAM or memory addresses, right?
Yeah, that's right, because you could have a column fail or a block fail if that's all contained within, you know, a page or several pages. You can do not column or block repair, but at least mitigate column and block fails.
How about this?
Yeah, I just didn't like the word row, but yes, that is better. Also, then after that, there's this double parenthesis stuff, which I'm not quite understanding. Like,
Oh gosh, let's take a look. Okay, so the first row for cell fault, row fault is clear, I think. Page offline. Yeah. Here's what I propose is do this. How about that?
okay, yeah, I think then the previous line, page offline, with a range of DRAM addresses, right? And then
Right.
after that, this is that the intent, I think.
Yeah. And then the CPU does the analyzer. This is the address translation I was talking about. You know, the it will vary per CPU, so the CPU analyzer has to do it. So are we okay? Oops, down to this bullet.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Okay, then system issue. Well, let's take a look at this row. I'm gonna make the parentheses thing a sub-bullet. I mean, it's a pretty big thing. Is that okay with you all? Just like I did before?
Yeah, I think that cleans it up some.
Just like that. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, the highlighting fooled me.
Do you mind if I make some very minor edits just myself? Is it okay?
Please, yeah, no, go for it. That's the
It's
beauty of
very
Google
minor.
Docs. I appreciate your active participation. Go for it, Mia. You've made this document better.
Yeah, I just didn't want to type at the same time as you. That's all. But yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah.
it.
Sounds great. Okay, I'm just gonna accept it. That looks good. Okay, and then the last one is high-low severity classifier. That looks good. So if this is okay with you, I'm going to try to figure out and accept that. Oh, I got rid of all that highlight. Great. Okay.
I do
Okay.
have one question on the output though. So for
Sure.
components that are predictive analysis coming out of the DRAM analyzer, does this also need a field or something to express the level of confidence in those predictions, or are they always expected to provide a prediction regardless? Like if we're at rolling the dice on, 10% chance maybe yes, no, and then the lower level analyzer went down has to make a determination on what to do.
I think that's great because like all of our other conversations, I dream of like that's one thing we want in a CPAD is some analyzer level of confidence, and as an end user we'll use that just however, right? We'll threshold it. We'll use it to guide our policies. So I would like that. Is that okay with the memory folks if we put a confidence level?
Can we try to scope that as like a low, medium, high type range?
Yeah, what I was
Or
gonna say.
I think my main worry is Sean throwing out a 10%. That's going to be really hard for us to get like that kind of resolution.
Well, here's what I proposed in the other form is just 0 to 100 or something, but you use it arbitrarily. And if
Yeah,
you
I mean,
want,
yeah, we could do that, Drew. And then I guess if we choose to implement it as a 30, 60, 90.
then that's your call. Your
Yeah,
call.
okay.
And then you might have something extreme where you're
Yep.
like, wait a minute, I really recognize this. This is a known issue with this particular serial number range. I am 100% sure. Send this one back to us immediately, and you give us a 100, and you really
Okay.
get our attention. So you could do 30, 60, 90, and then really get our attention with anything different.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
So
I think I'm fine with that too. Just the scenario I'm mostly thinking about here is either the system fault analyzer having to make a guess and low quality recommendation from DRAM
yeah.
being taken, or the second one being applying PPRs for something that is very, very low odds being an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I agree, Sean, and what I would just urge you all is do your best, and that's fine. Like it's not going to be perfect, we know that, but it's like just another critical small little bit of information we can use to drive policies when we decide how seriously to take your analysis result. And if you say, well, this is a 30, Evan, I'm going to be like, well, maybe this is a picky customer that gets really uptight about the least disruption in memory. So maybe I'll go ahead and do the post-package repair for this customer, where maybe a less picky customer, I'd wait till you got to 90. So anyway.
Yeah.
This is great. Thank you, Sean. That was excellent. Okay, I think that we've captured. Oh, sorry, was someone else saying something? I'm going to delete the table then, now that we've reviewed the table. And I'm going to just say, using actually, policy decisions by SFA users. Is that okay if I add that? And so it's a soft use. It's not a, it's a guide. It's not a, a super strict thing. Okay. Carlos has been out. I'm going to delete his name here. I'll
Duru,
talk.
this is Jongmin. So before moving to the number 7, can you discuss on the page outline a little bit more?
Yes. Would you like to discuss it up above before we move
Yeah,
on?
yeah, that one. Yeah, the page outlining. So I'm not sure
Oh,
we
yeah.
can add some of the more comment or not, but so Samsung found out that sometimes the offline page, even offline page memory area, the CPU proactively lead the petrol scrub and it increased the failure count. So in
Hmm.
this case, we are worried about sometimes the um, hyperscale vendor just pull out the DIM even it's already offline.
Yes. Yes. So here's the way I would think that would work. That's a really good comment. Thank you. So the way I think, so I guess, John Min, the way I see it is that today we use counts of memory errors to drive replacements. And I think that all the memory vendors agree that that's a mistake. You just can't count errors. You got to decide what the error is. And so that's what we're doing here. So what I would propose here is that if you get and maybe we can put this in the text. If we get a patrol scrub error, I guess you could say, this was a patrol scrub error. This page should be mapped out, but then there's no other action to take. So we could say that. And I don't know how to prevent the patrol scrubber from continuing to scrub that address because the patrol scrubber is not that smart. But at least we,
Maybe maybe CPU and the OS kernel level handshake is needed. This is why I would like comment about it because OCP, yeah, all over the memory and the chipset vendor and hyperscale vendor OEMs, yeah, working together. So we need to be aware of it. So yeah, the order is that the failure happened and the OS kernel offlining the affected memory area based on logical address. However, CPU just try a chipset, yeah, try to proactively lead the failure area, even it's already offline, because there is no any handshake between the OS kernel and the CPU. And
yeah.
this is the reason why error count is still increased.
Well, but I guess here's what my point is that we shouldn't be using error counts anymore, and
Some of the
that,
customer, yeah.
that we should be using the analyzer, and so like I think we can work on that. I think we need to work on what you're talking about. But in the meantime, if we do not have that ability for the OS to tell us about whether or not it mapped a page out, what I would say is if you tell us uh, that the page is like, let's say that you get a a uh, a patrol scrubber error. Okay, you'll see that from the analyzer, and then the analyzer is supposed to be stateless, so that's the thing we've got to figure out. But the analyzer could just say map the page out, map the page out, map the page out. But if you see, let's say that I send you 90 days worth of errors, and for the last 45 days, we've been getting a patrol scrub error, once a day, because it's a 24-hour scrub period, and it's the same address every day. What I would say is, since your analyzer is in charge of deciding that memory is good or bad, then you say, oh, look, I've got the same patrol scrub error, 45 times in a row. And the output might be, hey, you should have mapped this page out. But that's it. And you never suggest replacing memory because it's an isolated single bad address and you've already said to map the page out. So that would be my proposal until we get a path for the OS, and I think that's reasonable. We could, I'm gonna switch to one other picture here. Well, yeah, I'm gonna switch pictures just briefly. Whoops, I want to share a window. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, I'm gonna just share a window and, well, I guess Edge tab. Okay. Okay, can you see the picture I'm sharing?
Yes.
This is the new drawing for the OCP doc, and it's still a work in progress. I'm still in the process of cleaning it up, but it's this drawing, and I've made it clean. But one of the things I want to point out is we have this dotted line between the kernel and the RAS API. And one of the things that I imagined we would want to do is, let's say that, and it's relevant to this discussion, but this is like a nice bigger picture to talk to. So let's say that we got a patrol scrub error from the CPU. It went out the RAS API over Redfish to the analyzers. The header parser goes, oh yeah, it's a CPU one. It gets the last 90 days of errors, sends that to the CPU analyzer, which then goes to the memory analyzer. And you can see, you analyze the newest one, and you go, okay, this was a patrol scrub error. And then you might say, well, I wonder if I've had any other memory errors. And you look back in the last 90 days or 128 days or whatever we decide, whatever you decide you want, and you say, yeah, this is definitely the daily patrol scrub error, and I'm not seeing any other errors from this address. And if you go like days and you don't see any other errors from the OS, you can infer that the OS is probably staying out of that page. And then what you do is you never say, if you think that you just want to map the page out and not replace the dim, then you say, yeah, I think this dim's okay. I'm not going to say replace the dim, but I might send another CPAD just to be sure that they map the page out. That CPAD goes here. We decide it's okay. The CPAD then comes back to the BMC web, comes back to the RAS API. RAS API then sends a message over the dotted line, and that could be up through the CPU somehow, but somehow we communicate with the kernel. Hey, if you haven't already, map this page out. And so you're in control, and that's kind of the beauty of this proposal, is that Samsung, for Samsung memory, is in control of when you think the memory is bad, and you have some clues from the error logs that since this is a patrol scrub error, you have a clue that you can use that tells you don't replace the dim. Don't count this as a new error. So do you see, like short term, I think we can do that. And then longer term, we can have the OS report in that, we could say, hey, we'd like you to offline a page. And if we can come up with a standard interface where we don't need a special agent in the OS, and the OS just goes, "Yep, I offline the page," then then we could pass that back to you over over as a, we just make a CPR error log up saying, "Hey, this isn't really an error, but the OS mapped out a page," and now that's in your history. So,
Yeah.
Jungmin, does that help any?
Yeah. It would be helpful. Yeah. Yeah.
So what
Kind
I'm
of
gonna,
some. Yeah.
but your point's really good. So what I'm gonna do is, and I'm gonna share that doc again. Give me a second here. Okay. So what I would say is, um, the all right, seeing, let's see, I'll say the DFA should be the error is only detected by patrol scrub. The page may be mapped out. Or I'm gonna say might be. So clear, might be mapped out. The DFA might suggest mapping out again, and then I'm going to just put a future goal is to have the OS report that it mapped the page out. So is this wording okay, Jungmin? Does this meet your,
Drew,
I'm looking.
the first bullet, the DFA should be able to see when an error repeats at an address. Do you mean that it should be able to see when an error repeats at an address that has been offlined or mapped out? Is that the intent?
how
Yeah,
about
that's
should be
my
able to,
intention. Yeah.
yeah, should be able to infer. How about should be able to infer mapped out pages and uh, or how mapped out pages until we can design a handshake with the OS. Maybe, is that better? But the DFA is in control. You know, that's the whole point, is that you know, we want you to like, that's kind of the point of this whole project, is to give you all the ability to say, yeah, this error is not that big a deal. You can just ignore it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So does this meet your goal for the time being? And I agree. I think this is going to take it's going to like take work. We're going to have to plan it out. We're going to have to work out that handshake with the OS. So I don't think we can sort that out in this version of the document. But absolutely think that's a great idea for a future goal.
Yes, thanks for yeah your comment about it. Yeah, in the our FMFM document.
And I'm gonna see what Mita types here.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to think what I'm saying, but I was just trying to make it a little clearer for myself, and then you can accept or. So I think what the intent is in this version of the spec, the DFA might suggest mapping out a page again if the error has been
If it's these repeated patrol scrub errors.
if it yes, exactly. And I think then the first bullet point can then be removed. To me, this is clearer, but
Well, but the OS. Okay, let me make it here. The OS might have mapped out the page. So I'm trying to say something different than what you said.
okay.
See, if the error is only detected by the patrol scrub, the OS isn't using the page.
Okay, I get it. I get it. So I was thinking of, okay, I was thinking of it a little differently when I read that. I thought, well, if the error is detected by a memory access, then I think what you're saying is there's an order to the things, right? A page may have been mapped out, and then after that, patrol scrub still detects the error.
Yeah, so exactly. So once a day you get a patrol scrub error from that page, and that's it. I mean, that's all you get from it. And if that's all you see, then the OS might have just mapped it out because you're not getting any other errors. It's obviously not accessing because if it was, you get some other error.
Okay.
But thank you, Mita. I mean, you're making me write this clear. I appreciate the comment. I'd like to like clean up the wording you used just a little bit because you said in the current version of the spec. I agree with what you said. I want to say, how about maybe in this version of the specification,
Yeah, sure, go for it.
if that's okay. And I don't want to use spec. Like
Yeah, totally.
I was corrected in another forum by another company that, hey, we should, clean our language up. So, I've learned my lesson. I don't want to get that comment from them again. But this is great. I like your feedback, Mita. You're making it clear. Okay, are we in agreement with the way it's worded presently then?
Yeah, it makes sense to me now. Thanks.
Okay, and thank you for that feedback, Jungman. I think we need to come back to that and continue to work on it. And the thing that's really cool about this, I think you're absolutely right. We got the right people. We could build in, like if the RAS API happens, the OS could have a built-in driver for RAS API things, and we could make that a standard reaction of the OS. It'd just be built-in driver. So the beauty of that is that even in bare metal situations, as long as they're using fairly recent OSs with the latest set of drivers, the RAS API driver shows up and says, "Yeah, I mapped out a page." And that I don't think that's generally a controversial thing to pass that kind of message back and forth between system management tools. So I'm gonna close your comment since we've got the action item here, if that's okay.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then, okay, thank you. And then let's take a look at 7. I'm gonna put the fleet operators fault handling. Yeah, and the agent could even, it could be a node level BMC. It could even be an appliance in a data center. It could be a rack manager. It could be whatever. So I think I'm to here. So I think I'm on SFA log output format. Are there any? Well, just before we move on, are there any comments in this
We should
section?
get rid of the redfish thing again, the machine readable format such as JSON, the redfish thing that we got rid of above as well.
Okay. I mean, it didn't bother me as much here because he's talking about. Well, yeah, but you're
But I
right because
think
it's inside the
you just
VM.
deleted a different one than Mita was talking about, Drew.
This
Oh, I
one here.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's talking about the SFA log output format that she has
Oh,
highlighted.
okay. I was asking
Oh,
for
yeah,
comment.
sorry. Yeah, yes, I was talking about.
I think you're
Okay.
both right.
Oh, so I should delete it here as well.
I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know. That's a different. I mean, that's just kind of an example. I don't think there's anything wrong with that,
Yeah,
but
I
that's
guess you're
more
right.
of
I
a
would leave. I think
system
we should leave
operator
that.
call.
Just an example.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking about the one below it.
Okay.
SFA log output
Oh
format.
gosh. Oh yes. Please delete. Please. Thank you. Do you want to do it? It looks like your cursor's there, Mita. So I was going to let you do it.
Oh, I'm still in that. You might as well do it. I'm in the
I'll
suggest
accept
mode.
your change. Your cursor's there. There we go. Okay, it says teamwork. Oh, you got one extra
Yeah,
left.
I think I've messed
Here,
it up a little. Right.
it's okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, recommended SFA log. Oh, the SFA. So the SFA output should be. It should be a CPAD and a JSON. So I'm going to spell it out. For actions, and I'll say repairs, invoking as features such as PPI. Okay, and then a machine readable format for JSON for the decoded. Okay, and so there are kind of two outputs. There's the, hey, what was in the error log, and we'll use that for AI, and that may be only for trusted partners. You know, like if there's proprietary stuff in the error log, then maybe the JSON doesn't show up in the analyzer unless um, the there's a appropriate non-disclosure agreement in place, and that's up to the vendor what they put there. But the common platform action descriptor will drive repairs and features. So is that controversial? You know, I'm trying to align it to the other drawing I was sharing.
It looks good to me.
And so this all, I mean, we can go through this, but I guess I would say what I'd like to add is, uh, you know, the following output may get refined as we define the CPAD format. So I'm going to say like the following items included in as the OCP as API team defines the CPAD format. Oh, and I'm gonna make that say CPAD here. Okay. So is that okay? I'm not hearing any pushback. I'm gonna leave it.
Yeah, sounds good to me, Drew.
Okay. So then this all looks like what we discussed, and I'm going to scroll down. Like the output timestamp has been discussed. Faulty DIM serial number, faulty DIM location. That's pretty obvious. If there is one, we want to know it. And we discussed this recently.
I have two questions on that timestamp actually. One is that the timestamp for the recommendation from the SFA, or is it a pass through of the last event that triggered the SFA? And the second one is why the,
That's a good question. I think it's timestamp of the it says timestamp of the analyzer output. So it says to me, when was it analyzed?
okay. And then why the decoded separated format rather than like a standard just second since epic kind of a thing?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Why the weirdly separated out format rather than just a
You
generic
mean here?
timestamp? No, the
Here.
recommended format for this timestamp is year colon month colon date colon. I'm wondering why. What is that to map to something else?
I don't know. It looks a little bit like Python date time. Is that right? I think that's, the nice, I guess the nice thing about the timestamp is that you could sort with it, right? I don't know.
Yes. I don't know. In general, I would say it's usually more useful just to have the actual time rather than somebody's decoded time, because then you got a bunch of other stuff mixed into it. But okay.
I mean, can you explain like when you say actual time, what do you mean? You mean
Sorry, like a just a generic time in seconds kind of thing that's consumable by a lot of tools.
like seconds since the epoch?
Yeah, in any permutation thereof. It's easily sortable, consumable by a lot of tools versus having to do a little bit of parsing depending on what this actually is.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess it just depends on your infrastructure. If you use Python, then a date time, like whatever the standard date time string format is pretty easy. But I thought that's what this is, but I don't know. I didn't write this, so
Yeah, I have no idea.
um, I don't know. Let me just look real quick. Convert date time to and here's I guess one thing I would tell you is that the second since the epoch works great if you're a Linux shop. But if you work, oh yeah, there's a calendar date time GM function that will convert it to epoch seconds. But the problem is that Windows has a different epoch. So, like if you look in Microsoft data centers, we have mixed machines, right? We have windows in there. So I think we'd have to be careful about what the epic is. So in a sense, this is less vague than the epic. And for people that are asking about the epic, like the Unix epic is January 1st, 1970, and so all timestamps for Unix are based on the number of seconds since then. And the Win32 epic, I think, is January 1st, 1601 is what it's saying. I'm not sure. I'd have to go look. I don't remember what it was, but the epic for Windows I remember is different. So anyway, I think it. So Sean, sorry, I had to think about that out loud. You're listening to me process what you said. I think it is kind of funny, but I would propose it's just the standard date time string for Python, and that's easily parsable. Let's just see date time output. I don't have a Python shell handy. I was trying to see if I could just.
It's all good. I mean, in the end, it's software. We can make it parse whatever. But I was just wondering where the choice came from.
Yeah. Let's see, print. I'll try it. I'll see what the, what a str datetime and that datetime object is. But I think I would lean towards the format's fine. The output of the timestamp of the analyzer output. So one thing I would say, Sean, is that like when we're building our fault management infrastructures, we want to know what the latency is at each step along the way. And so by having everyone record their timestamp, so like let's say that you have a entity logging something on the machine like the BMC. If it generates a timestamp for when it logs something, and that gets included in whatever package of data sent up, and then the pipeline that passes the error log to the analyzer adds its timestamps, and then the analyzer adds its timestamp. Then if you go, why the heck is it taking 1 hour to run the analysis? You've got a record of the timestamps, and you can look and say, wait, the hour jump was between this and this. In my pipeline, here's the problem. So I kind of like having that, this gives us a timestamp, say when the analyzer saw the error. And if anyone's complaining the analyzer took too long, they can say, well, when did the previous item in the pipeline record that it saw the error? And then you know where the bottleneck is. So, I don't know. So Sean, I'm sorry, I'm puzzling out what you were talking about. I'm hearing you, but I'm not sure what to do. I think this is okay, but
I think
are you
it's fine.
okay with it?
You can leave it.
Okay. Okay, so back to these other things. I think this is all fine. One thing I would say is I don't know why these comments are here. Fast boot, cold boot. And why are there, I guess these are enumerated actions. So I'm just going to delete the comment here, or the comma here, just to be consistent. And I think that memory vendors, if you can come up with new actions, the cool thing about what we've done here with CPADs is you could have a proprietary action. If you can agree to like a protocol with Intel and AMD and others that when you get this magic message CPAD from us, write these, you could even list out the mode registers you want to write in your DRAM to do something special if there are any OEM specific, or there are some OEM specific mode registers. So, like with this circular pipeline, if you work with the CPU vendors, you could potentially create proprietary RAS actions for your parts. We haven't been able to do that before, I don't think, because we had no way to drive it. So anyway, please think about that, because I'd love to see some competition there. Okay, I think this looks fine to me. If there are no other comments, I'm going to delete the table.
Thank you so much, Drew, for driving this. I think, yeah, I totally missed the point of on CPAD. I guess I was just trying to finish it up.
No problem. I'm fixated on it right now. So
Yeah. I think this is great progress today. I'm very happy. So our next section is section 8. Do we have a plan for that?
I can take a look at it between now and then, or if you want to, either, or if someone else wants to.
Yeah, I mean, we should have one person who's responsible and brings it in. So do you think you want to take it?
Yeah.
Or things, okay. All right, so let's examples, right? Flow examples. Okay, let me know if we need to collaborate, work together or something, or anyone else you want to work with.
Well, and one thing I really want to do, and I've got a little bit of air cover from managers, is I've had folks have asked me, "Hey, you seem to have some ideas on what analysis could look like," and so. And Yogesh, I sent you a link to my poison document. I've gone through legal and I want to make an OCP suggestion there. But I'd like to also like brainstorm best practices for analysis, just to get folks started on, here are things we could analyze. And the memory vendors, you all will have way more ideas that are peculiar to memory, I'm sure. But I'd like to offer some suggestions of things that would really be wonderful, like if you have a serial number range with a known problem and you can do something special to recognize that problem, that would be amazing. So let's what I'd like to do is put some examples of analysis and examples of flows here, and then like give you seed ideas, because I think there's some pretty amazing things we can do here, some pretty
You're absolutely right. So let's ask people. We still have like a minute. There's lots of flow examples possible here. Do people have affinity? Like, hey, I like to work on page offline.
yeah, if someone else wants to do it, I'd
Let's
love it.
divide and conquer this thing. I mean, we can. There's lots of flows, and it will be good to see different points of views.
Absolutely, I agree.
Um, any volunteers for any of the flows? If not, it can also be done offline. If you want to review this document, link is in the chat. And just pick one and put a comment. I'll take a stab at it.
Yeah, and otherwise, I'll have something for us to review next time.
Yeah, so whatever you're
I would
doing,
love other
you
people to
also
do
do
it.
the same thing, right? Whoever is picking one, just put a comment on it so we don't have duplication of efforts, and then we'll take it from there. Okay?
Okay, I think we're getting close. I think we're really close to 1.0. This is awesome.
We are running out of sections.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much for contributions. We'll see you all in 2 weeks then.
Yeah, really appreciate this, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
See y'all later.
Goodbye.